So when I graduated college, I started working at a cafe. And the first customer that I met was a gentleman named John. John was one of the elderly men who came at 6 a.m. and ordered about 3 drip coffees and talked about every topic imaginable. When John and I first spoke, he started to make some sarcastic remarks about Christians and Christianity. And then he turned to me and asked me what I do other than working at the cafe. So I told John, I actually serve as a pastor right now. John staggered back a bit, surprised, and went back to his table and brought me this book, Jesus Interrupted. As an atheist, John had a troubling past with the church, and he wasn't alone. In the 3 years I've worked in this cafe, I met customers just like John who were looking for something more than coffee. They were looking for an encounter with someone who was willing to listen to their stories. So how are we supposed to bring people like John back to church? Or should the church go to John? I've met with some passionate leaders in the Lower Mainland to see how God is working through cafes and how they are helping others to find something more than coffee.
So Mackey's Place is a youth social hub where we bring students in just to get them connected out of whatever it may be, secondary schools, whatever it is, where they might not have the ability to get a job, the means to get a social insurance number, place, even the skills that it would take to get a job. We bring them in and work with them and train them to get to that place.
We have 75 to 100 positions that are filled every week, all by young people. Watching them thrive, watching them have a specialty in their knowledge and building confidence and mostly showing up for themselves and showing up for us.
I think it comes down to radically ordinary hospitality. Coffee is most people's chosen drink, but then it becomes so much more than the coffee. Because if it becomes more than the coffee, it becomes about me and you. And if it becomes about me and you, then we're gonna move forward beyond coffee. We're gonna talk about goals, dreams, expectations. We're gonna be able to accomplish so much more just by that simple drink that's in front of us. And that's all it is. It's a disarming factor.
I feel like, how can I say it? By you speaking to somebody, like, I got a lot of friends out there, you know? There's a lot of kids right now, high school, that, you know, they're in the streets and, like, you know, getting in trouble and stuff like that. This place will keep them away from, like, a lot of those stuff, right? Because it's like here, they get actual support. You feel welcome here, you know? It's just like, it's family, you know what I mean? It's like family, like, they really care about you, right? So it's like, yeah. I appreciate this place for real, you know? I'm thankful to be here.
We started Cafe Ministry, which is located on Front Street, also in downtown New Westminster. And the cafe is physically part of our church, and it's 1 block off of the entrance of the church. So for us, we physically were able to move into the downtown area of New Westminster, and there had not been a church physically here for over 30 years. So we felt it was a very special opportunity to capitalize on our locale. And as we began to just be in this space and serve the community, the whole passage from Jeremiah 29 just became very, very real to us. Seek the welfare of the city. Now you can seek the welfare of the city from any part of the city, but because we were geographically located in the downtown sector, we felt a special extra sort of impetus and excitement about that. So we see Hive Cafe as presenting the gospel sort of in those introductory ways. It's not where we're going to have a church service. It's not where we're going to have Christian podcasts coming over the speakers. We're not even going to have Christian literature per se, strewn across the tables. It's meant to evoke a curiosity and an interest. Oh, a church is doing this? And to create a different impression of what the church is about and what it can do. Of course, our chief mission is always around spiritual formation, helping people come into a relationship with Jesus. But if we can whet people's appetite and change their perspective, then that opens them up to a further step down the line of, oh, can I come to your church? Or a conversation, I've never heard about Five Stones Church. Our evangelism is sort of like a pre-evangelism ministry meant then to bridge into a more formal introduction about who Jesus is. And that bridge occurs through our barista team, it occurs through maybe some of our social media, but that's what we're trying to do, is to create that gentle interface, but an attractive one.
And we said right from the get-go, this can't be a church coffee shop or a Christian coffee shop, or else the only people that will come are Christians and church people. And that was exactly the opposite of the goal and the vision of the place, which was to be for the ministry of presence incarnationally in our downtown, serving our neighbors, being good business owners so that we could partner with other people and develop relationships. I would say in the 10 or 15 years where I was working as a pastor, and then the 2 years where I was working as a barista, I've probably met 40 times more people working as a barista, and had way more contact with the people that are part of our church as they come in more regularly as we go.
In general, I would say before, Mission didn't really have a coffee shop like this. There's no coffee shop where you can just go to study, go work on things. But the long table, it's kind of like a community table, so everyone's encouraged to sit there and chat and get to know people. So we've obviously gained a lot of regulars, but a lot of people have also met friends through the Penny just by frequenting here often, which is kind of cool. And also a lot of connection between the businesses on First Ave and new businesses coming in. There's been a lot of that since we opened.
One of the questions that we ask often in our church is, if our church ceased to exist, would the city notice and would they care? If a church ceased to exist and the surrounding neighborhoods didn't notice and didn't care, then was that church really communicating good news to the neighborhood?
I believe that the church is God's great resource to our cities. Churches would be able to develop community in their neighborhoods where they would see themselves as strategically placed on purpose.
So I would encourage churches to always think creatively. What are ways that we can present Jesus in a way that's compelling to create that gentle interface, but an attractive one?